Okay guys, with this video I intend on solving my low oil pressure issue. Well, the reading anyway. I don't actually think I've got low oil pressure. I think what it is, it's the sender unit, I think, which is located just below the oil filter. I believe that the wire on it is faulty. I think it's been manipulated and played around with a little bit, taking off the inspection plate to do the cam belts and find top dead center and all that sort of thing. I think it's been bent a little bit too many times and it's not reading right, so I intend on replacing it and putting in a new one. So I'll show you what I need to do for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the filter off. I'm going to take the distributor cap off the rear bank just for a little bit of access, because it is difficult to get into that particular unit. So I'm going to get all that done and then I'll get back to you. Cheers. Okay, so it's only about 3 or 4 seconds since my last shot, and I went to move the wire out of the way just so I can start twisting it off, and that wire has literally fallen off. So I'm pretty confident that that there is the problem with my oil pressure not reading correctly. I could be wrong, but either way, looks like we're putting in a new oil pressure sender unit. Alright, bit of a bummer because I just put an order into Superformance yesterday or the day before, so that's probably already in the mail. So it looks like I'm paying extra postage. Oh well. So it'll be a week or so before I get that part and finish this video, but I'll just show getting it off and then plug the holes up, keep them covered, and I'll screw the filter back on. I won't tighten it down, I'll just screw it back on so that's all nice and covered, and then I'll obviously once I know I've got the sender unit out, I will just hand screw the sender unit back in if it's not too difficult, just to plug that hole up until I've got my new piece. So the car's still drivable, obviously. It's only a sender unit, but I'm really a little bit cautious, so I'd rather not drive the car until I get that part back. So I'm going to go order that part as soon as I pull it off. I'm going to go put an order in for that, so hopefully within a week and a half I've got that part, and I'll finish off this video. But I'll just work on getting it out, show you that little bit there, and then I guess the next step after that will be when my parts have arrived. Cheers. Okay, so a little tweak over the top of the hose this time, and a little tweak up, and you can see there it's loose. It's now turning. I used a 22mm. I'm just pulling it out now live, so hopefully I don't get any nasty surprises. There might possibly be a little bit of oil come out. I'm going to check that as I pull it out. I've never done one of these before, so I don't know what to expect. I wouldn't have expected oil. There we go. So there it is. It's just simply that plug. And I would say that there was on its way, because how easy it was to break was pretty ridiculous. So it's not actually a wire, it's a looks to be brass, a little brass piece there. So that's broken. And it's a bit of a shame, because that's probably the only reason that it's not working right. I don't know if that can be repaired. It's hard to tell. Looks like that's been manipulated a little bit over time. That's rubbing away, that rubber on the top. But anyway, there's the unit. and there's simply just a little hole there, little port. As you can see, no oil's coming out. Alright, pull my little red plug out, put the filter back on, and maybe put a little plug in down the bottom there to fill up that little hole. Or I may even just put this back in, because there's no real need to take it out. There's a rivet there. You might be able to drill that rivet out and have a look and suss that out. I'll suss it out first, but I will probably use that as a plug in the end anyway. For now, I'm just going to put a little bit of that red foam in there. Always keep lots of that stuff handy, foam and all types of stuff, just for that kind of thing. When it's red, it really stands out as well. So I'm just going to plug that in there, just so I'm not expecting anything to go in there, but just so it brings my attention to it as well. And I better do up that hose clamp down here, because I've had a little bit of a drip, and as you can see, I've got a little bit of coolant coming out. It's not huge, it's just that little drip from that hose being manipulated. Nearly slipped on it then. So I'll do that clamp up now, and next time you see me, I should have my parts. Cheers. Okay, so noticeably different, smaller. Okay, you can see the size is much smaller. The thread is the same, that's the same, which is the important part. That is smaller than that, so it's obviously going to sit further in. Hopefully that's not going to make it harder to do that nut up. We'll soon see. For clearance wise, nevertheless, this setup here with this little screw-on bit here, as you can see that there, this makes a lot of sense, because when you're needing to take off your inspection plate for your flywheel, that's when this was getting bent. I showed that earlier. This was getting bent up and down, up and down. So this must be a fairly common problem then, I guess, for them to change the setup to this. Hopefully the diameter there difference also makes it easy to get a spanner around to get to this nut. So hopefully they've done a bit of redesigning. But this here, this I'm very pleased with. Yeah, I like that. That's sweet. So if your wire breaks, yeah, you can just replace the wire. Easy to fix. So we're liking that. So I'm actually going to take that off when I go to install it, and install it like this. So let's see if it goes in. So wish me luck. So I'm just about being down now. There's a washer on the other one. There's a washer on this one, but there's no washer on this one. So just wondering if I've got a washer that'll fit that. I might just go and check and see if I have a washer that'll fit that. If I don't, we'll try it without it, because you'd think they'd supply one. I don't want to use the washer off the other one. But let's go see. I'll come back with a washer. So make sure when you put it in, when you wind it in, okay, make sure you put a washer with it, put a crush washer with it. I've got one that's not exactly the right size, but it should be okay. There's an aluminium one on that one. So there's a washer on there for a reason. They don't supply a washer with it, so you've got to suss it. That should work, hopefully, because it's the seal between this nut here and the body is really what I'm trying to get. So it should work. Anyway, hopefully it does. Alright, I'm going to put that on and screw it in. Okay, so I have tightened it. Look, the way I did it, I've wrapped a little bit of sandpaper around the main body of it. Okay, so I'll use the other one to demonstrate. Wrapped a bit of sandpaper around here, like that. And then I've come in with some multi-pliers and grabbed it and just given it a twist, just gentle, because you don't want to be pressing too hard onto the body here and ruining all this. Now this one has an indent, and the one down there has a little bit protruding outwards, so the opposite to this. Now that could mean that there's some kind of tool that slots on, like some kind of socket or something. I just don't have a socket big enough. My largest one I have is 36mm for the crank, and it just doesn't fit on to the one down there. It looks to be about a 40mm diameter, measured with the vernier, so maybe you can get a socket on the end of it and twist it on. But yeah, because the new one, the nut here is much smaller, so only about that big, it's even harder because it sits further in as well, which is going to make the inspection plate for the flywheel come off a lot easier. That's going to be a good thing. So once it's tight and it's in there, hopefully I don't have to replace another one of these forever. I'm going to try and repair this one as well, just to see if I can. Anyhow, I've tightened it, like I said. I've used some multipliers and a bit of sandpaper. Just be really careful. If you pull them too hard, these teeth are just going to tear the body of this up. Yeah, so that's basically what I've done, and then just tweaked it. I don't think it's going to need a lot. I'll try and tweak it a little bit more before I'm 100% satisfied, just so. But there's just no getting a spanner in there or anything. It's really difficult. They must have another sort of tool or something. Yeah, because that space down there, where that nut is right in the middle of the screen, it's just really hard to get to. It's almost like you've got to take the housing, the body of the oil filter off to get to it, which I'm not doing, not when I'm this close. Anyhow, I'll get back to you when I've got all that sorted and connected up. I'm also probably going to do a current check and just see, make sure I've got current flowing through the wires. Alright, I'll be back. So I've just turned the ignition on and I've just connected up a circuit tester. You can see it there. The light is on. So I have power coming through. So that's a good thing. Just eliminates that. So now I'm just going to rewire it. Wire that back up. Then put all the distributor cap back on. Make sure the wires, or the leads I should say, are all good. Put the oil filter back on. I have purchased a oil filter tool. I will not be using this to put it back on because it doesn't need it. It's for pulling it off. Okay, so 100 Australian dollars from, or just under $100 from Superformance. So £50 worth it. So slowly I'm getting a set of tools that I need for things like wheel bearing replacements and also clutch, to redo the clutch to bring the drop gears off, all things like that. Yeah, steering wheel, all those, everything's got a different tool, and they're all £50. Hill Engineering from Superformance. This is one that I recommend you buy first if you can, because you're going to use this a lot more than you are the drop gear socket. Anyhow, I'm going to get those things done and I'll get back to you. Okay, so wires connected up to the sender unit, filters back on, hand tight, distributor cap is back on and cover. Made sure my leads are plugged in, coils plugged in, yeah, in case you pull it out. I'm always wary of taking off distributor caps with these particular systems, because you end up with a miss, but at least if you know you get a miss, you know where to go. Pull one of the wires out and one of the leads out from its seat, possibly. So hopefully I haven't. I was very careful. So I'm just about to start the car up and see if the pressure changes. We'll soon find out. Stay tuned. Well guys, it's all in, it's all connected, everything's sorted, so I'm hoping I'm going to do a cold start here live with the camera. Hopefully I'm going to notice this sucker here come up a little bit above the first thin line there, so about 4 or 5, something like that. That would be really cool. It's been sitting on 0 when I've been sitting at traffic lights and so on, so hopefully that sender unit was the issue. So I'm just about to start it up now. It's going to be... Oh, look at that rising. Oh, sweet. Sweet. Tells me straight away, instantly, that's my issue. So I didn't actually have low oil pressure, I just had a low reading because of a faulty wire on the sender unit. Sweet, so that should raise a little bit as I give it some light revs. There it goes. I'm only going to rev it really lightly because simply because I've just turned the car on, so it's a little bit cold, so just a little bit like that, just to notice the change. Oh yeah, it's coming up. Oh, sweet. It's looking great. Okay, well, that's it. Problem solved. It's a sender unit. Thank God it wasn't the big end bearings. Didn't think it would be, but you never know. Anyhow, I hope that helps someone out. And thanks for watching.